Utah goes with Malone, Russell, Foster, Hornacek, and Stockton, Horry, Fox, O'Neal, Jones, and Fisher for the Lakers. Game 4, Utah looking for the sweep. Bennett Salvatore, Joey Crawford, and Jack Neese, the officials for today's game. Salvatore's first game back since he was injured when Mario Elie knocked him into the scorer's table during the regular season.
The beginning of the ball game is extremely important for the Los Angeles Lakers. They've got to set some sort of tempo that gives them a chance to say, we're going to win this game, we're going to win it comfortably.
Shaq up and under, draws the foul from Greg Foster.
Terrific execution in the set offense for Los Angeles. Every set play, Shaquille should handle the ball, punish the Utah Jazz men inside, let the three-pointers come out of transition on the break.
First free throw finds the bottom of the net. Jerry Sloan's defense has been content to concentrate on the others while Shaq has averaged nearly 30 points a game. It's been rarely double teaming, and they do double, it's very quickly and then back to get your man.
Tom, it's been a brilliantly conceived game plan by Jerry Sloan, and everything that they've thought about has worked to perfection.
Malone with a finger roll over Shaq.
That looked like George Gervin.
You know, their idea is to try to quicken the game. So the Los Angeles Lakers are going to try to come out and trap, get the ball out of John Stockton's hand. They don't want those kinds of results, layups on the other end.
Skip pass to Fisher for three, and Derek Fisher finds the net on the Lakers' first three-point attempt of the game.
Steve, the problem with either one of these teams, the Lakers or the Jazz, trapping their opponent, is that Horry and Karl Malone play that high post swingman position so well.
Horry guarding Karl Malone. Malone to Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek over Derek Fisher.
Now there's a guy that's due for a bust-out game. Normally a big, difficult shot maker, has been quiet out on the road, and I'm sure that he wants to get going early here against the Lakers.
Hornacek averaging only 7 points a game in this series and hitting under 30% of his shots. O'Neal, no basket, wave it off. Foul out on the floor.
You look around and he finds Jeff Hornacek's number, but what they have done is make it difficult for Shaq to get his initial move. He plays in kind of a rhythm, and if he can't get that good rhythm, he seems to be a little confused, and it takes him a lot longer to get into the game. 30 shots the last time out.
Hornacek's first foul, second against the Jazz. Here's Fisher off an O'Neal screen. Got a pick from Horry. Horry falls down, so does Malone. Horry manages to save it. 7 to shoot. O'Neal.
A different Shaquille O'Neal to start the game. He's been playing that way in the second half. Fox up to double team Stockton every time. Shaq going quickly before any double team or any defensive situation for Utah can get set.
Shaq has half the Laker points to open the game.
The deep position by Shaquille. And look, he doesn't even wait. He just goes right by Foster. When the defender puts his hands up while the man's still dribbling down low, that's a surrender. Wave the white flag quickly.
9 to shoot for the Jazz. Russell, that's a 2, had his foot on the line, no good, and rebounded by Shaquille O'Neal.
The Jazz feel their success has been on offense because of the willingness to make the extra pass. Laker big men don't rotate that well defensively. Right now, the Jazz are shooting the ball very quickly off the first exchange of the ball.
That plays into the hands of the Lakers. The Lakers then can rebound the ball, run the ball. Fox just forced his way in, couldn't convert.
Malone the rebound, the outlet to John Stockton.
Foster in transition, wide open. He's been beating Shaq up and down the court.
Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek. That's what they needed to get him off. He has 4 points in the early going, 2 for 2 shooting, and we're tied. Eddie Jones, and the Lakers like to see that because Jones has been struggling after that superb series against Seattle. He's found the going tough against the Jazz.
Del Harris told us yesterday, I got to keep Eddie Jones out of foul trouble because I need his offense, and he needs to see Eddie Jones strike early. Malone
got a step on Horry, and caught on the top side. Horry concedes the layup to Malone.
Again, John Stockton, the perfect delivery of the pass. Robert Horry telling us that they know when Malone's going to break free. The experience of this Jazz team really coming into play here.
Baseline fall away from Shaq won't go, and Malone has the board, his second.
Stockton, another hard hit going to the ground. Can't believe he doesn't get called on those plays.
Greg Foster from outside. Shaq had position on Malone, hauls it down and gets it to Fisher.
Malone now matched up on Shaq.
You'll watch when Karl Malone is guarding Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq has a difficult time getting inside, gets mugged right off the bat.
Hard foul by the mailman on Shaquille O'Neal. It takes a pretty good blow to take that man to the canvas.
Down low, and he's going to lead with his rear end as he always does, and then Karl Malone makes no attempt to make a play on the ball, so they call a flagrant foul.
There's Malone just grabbing Shaq, and so the flagrant foul.
Well, it's amazing the punishment that Shaquille O'Neal takes each and every game out there. Karl Malone, as big a, strong a player as there is in this league, and he just looks dwarfed out there next to Shaq.
How much does the Shaq bench press? You don't have the number?
Shaq doesn't lift a lot of weights. That's just all natural right there.
He is a 2 of 4 at the free throw line, but Karl Malone is a dedicated man in the weight room.
Oh, Karl Malone, one of those guys who just does it all season long. In fact, last year after the finals were over, 2 weeks afterward, they had the Rocky Mountain Summer Review League with the rookies up there in Salt Lake City.
Shaq over Foster.
Inside, but Karl Malone, just 2 weeks after the heartbreaking loss to Chicago, Karl was in that weight room, riding the stationary bike, and all the coaches who were there, the rookies had already left. They saw Karl in there. They went back to the hotel and got the rookies and brought him back and said, this is what the NBA MVP is all about, Karl Malone. With Jordan, one of the most supremely conditioned athletes in the history of the NBA.
Karl making the head fake there and drawing the foul from Robert Horry. Horry's first. First foul against the Lakers as Malone with 4 points to the free throw line.
Now this is a nervous crowd. Normally the Lakers crowd is not this noisy. They're more of a front-running crowd. They're waiting for the Lakers to give them something, but since they've come into the building, this crowd has been a little buzzy, and they're hoping to keep the brooms away. John Stockton and Karl Malone, 27 years, and they've only missed 27 games.
And 18 of those came this year with John Stockton's knee injury. So now you're blaming the crowd?
No,
the Lakers not playing well?
No, this crowd wants it. You know, I think that's going to help the Lakers this afternoon. You know, one of the few times, I mean, in Game 3, this crowd only responded when the Lakers did something positive. And I think they're ready to stay in this game the entire ballgame.
Jazz ball after Eddie Jones shot an air ball on an attempted three. And Malone with a little shove for Horry as the Jazz bring it up court, trailing by 1.
Great pick by Foster.
And the illegal one, that's why it was so great, is he checked Eddie Jones. Yeah.
Just because the defender goes down doesn't mean it's an offensive foul. 2 quick fouls on Greg Foster. He'll have to go to the bench. Stockton just keeps curling here. He's standing right there. That's not a foul on Greg Foster. That's a great flop by Eddie Jones.
Foster sits down. Greg Ostertag is on.
One thing that the Lakers, and even though they whined about it a lot, and they've got more than their share of calls in all 3 ball games. Derek Fisher.
Nice fake to get open. Couldn't finish with the shot as Malone hauls down his 3rd board.
Karl dominant on the defensive board. They position him at the weak side position there all the time.
They like to pull O'Neal out high, so this allows Karl Malone a chance to work against Robert Horry, and then they get a reaction with the cutter going through the hoop.
Malone short on the jump hook. Horry clears it. Fisher in a hurry. This is the tempo the Lakers prefer. Fisher couldn't finish. Ostertag rips it away.
Get your
Fisher
elbows.
stripped it. Derek Fisher.
Get your elbows out, Greg Ostertag. You can't stand in there and hold the ball in your lap like it's your lunch.
There's the double on Shaq. Jump hook no good. Got his own and jams it home.
Well, he was the torch in Game 3. He had 39. You couldn't say he didn't bring it, but he is really bringing a lot of energy. Normally struggling on the board early, but O'Neal doing the job offensively and defensively on the glass.
8 points and 3 boards for Shaq thus far with 6:06 left in the opening quarter.
Greg Ostertag can't bring this rebound in. You see how his elbows are down around his side. That just won't get it done. The little guys will come in there like the vultures.
And then Shaq got his own rebound and took care of business. Lakers by 3.
This morning they got some in written form. Derek Fisher, the second-year player for the Lakers and point guard, wrote each of the Lakers a 2-page letter. Let me read briefly what it says. Now is the time for us to do what we have done before. We must not give in. We must not allow the peripheral opponent to divide us. We must stick together. There is no tomorrow, only today. Very reminiscent of what Jerry West did when he wrote a letter to the Lakers in February, and he's hoping, guys, that it'll bring the same response. Tom?
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Corey Blunt is on for the Lakers, replacing Robert Horry as Shaq misses. Shaq has scored the last 5 Laker points, but missed there. Stockton takes it all the way. Short on his shot, kept it alive twice, and saved by Ostertag in backcourt.
Great hands, first time by Hornacek, second by Stockton. Just that little extra bit of quickness that the Utah Jazz have been exhibiting.
That's been the difference in the series. They have made the hustle plays and kept the separation in their favor. Ostertag at the rim.
Jeff Hornacek is playing the best basketball of the series. He's playing with a serious injury that he won't let on what it is to anybody. But it was just 10 days ago that he was the Jazz best player in the closeout against San Antonio.
Shaq came up short with Ostertag in his face. Malone saves it off Blunt. It'll be Utah ball.
Karl Malone just a terror on the defensive boards early. The effort, he's done this twice now. First off Horry, now off Corey Blunt.
Jerry Sloan was concerned about what team would show up. Would they be happy that they got the big advantage and maybe take the afternoon off and get blown out? But they want to end it. Malone told me yesterday, I'm ready for the dagger.
Well, Steve, we learned a lot about this Utah team in the last game of the regular season. Illegal defense calls. But in that game here at the Forum between Utah and the Lakers, the Jazz had absolutely nothing to play for and virtually came down to the closing minutes and had a real chance to win that game.
Jerry Sloan with his normal rotation sends Howard Isley in to replace John Stockton at the point, and Nick Van Exel is on for the Lakers replacing Derek Fisher.
And the guy that's got to step up is number 9. Van Exel has got to get into the open court. He's got to be a scoring factor. He's got to do a better job defensively. He's had a tough time against the pick and roll and against the stop and go herky-jerky Howard Isley.
In fact, a hand check there is the first foul on Van Exel.
Nick Van Exel's only shooting in the low 20s from three-point land. That won't get it done. And he's always had trouble guarding John Stockton. I think this matchup against Howard Isley might work a little bit better for Nick.
Steal by Jones. 3-on-1 break. Fox.
Good decision by Karl Malone. He's got to stay in the game. So he'd rather give up 2 points than get another foul and have to go to the bench since he knows this is a big start for them. They need him out on the floor.
Third Utah turnover, and the Laker margin is 3.
But a lot of those turnovers are coming because of great Laker defense up in the passing lane.
Karl misses from outside. Ostertag beat O'Neal for the rebound. Offensive board by Ostertag.
What you like about the Jazz is their patience. They'll get the ball back, they'll calm everything down, and they'll go to something that they want to get.
Ostertag with a follow off the missed layup, and he just banged Shaq out of the way to put it home.
The passing, the quickness, the change of pace, change of direction.
Eddie Jones with a 3 with a defender in his face. Good sign for Laker fans. Jones with 5 points.
Tom, what are the chances his mom called?
You remember in the Portland series, Eddie Jones was off to what his mom thought was not an aggressive enough start. Called him on his cell phone on the way to the Forum and said, you've got to be more aggressive, more assertive. He responded with a tremendous series in the latter games of the Portland series and then against Seattle. In fact, at one point, he had consecutive games of 23, 29, 32 points, all career playoff highs. Fox misses from outside.
But Tom, if that's all it takes, a phone call from mom on the way to work, if all it takes is Derek Fisher writing a letter, why don't they do that every game?
Bill, don't underestimate the power of mom.
I never do. They're going to have to call a flagrant foul right back here.
Well, they get even as Utah swings the ball around, and then it's a steal, and Eddie Jones a quick push the other way, and an easy score for Rick Fox.
And Eddie Jones with a big 3. You're watching the NBA on NBC. And Shaq returning the favor.
Tom, one of the problems with Shaq being the biggest, strongest guy in the league is that what looks like inconsequential contact there, but the little extra push there in the back, they're going to have to call that. As the biggest player, Shaq has to be a little bit more careful the way he lands on top of people.
Lands. He laid some wood intentionally. He wanted to let Karl Malone know, I'm back at you. We're not going to go without you getting hammered like I've been getting hammered.
But Shaq, nor Karl Malone, they're not flagrant foul type of players. These are MVP caliber players.
But I think Steve's right. Shaq wanted to send that message right back at you. We're not laying down here in Game 4.
Well, Shaq was telling me, you know, he's just very frustrated at the way the team is playing and how they're not able to get into their fast break game. I think it's a sign of frustration.
Now it'll be Jazz ball as we check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Tom, kind of a poignant moment in the Laker locker room before the game. Somebody walked in and was walking around to all the Lakers, got to Shaquille O'Neal and said thanks and goodbye. Shaq looked at him and said, goodbye? We're not going anywhere. Not now, Tom.
All right, I wouldn't want to get Shaq fired up. You don't think that was a Jazz emissary, do you?
Well, the Jazz have done what they had to do. Stay in the ball game early, get a jump ball as they tie up Karl Malone.
Blunt had Malone and Shaq coming down to help, ties him up.
Well, Tom, there's a lot of very confident Jazz fans in this building here today. In fact, I noticed a number of them bringing brooms in to the building. The ushers questioning what they were doing with those brooms. They said they were here to clean out some lockers.
Shaquille slaps it out of bounds on the jump ball, so it'll be Utah basketball.
Now, Shaq is going to get a breather. Eldon Campbell comes in the ball game, 2:12 left in the first quarter.
Utah out shooting Los Angeles 50% to 44%, out rebounding them 11-5, but as you see, we are tied.
But that's just a continuation, Tom, of what's going on during the whole series.
Malone muscles his way in, then Campbell with a nice block out of Ostertag for the rebound. One of the differences has been the 3 Utah turnovers, and the Lakers have not yet turned it over. Fox hit the underneath side of the rim. Campbell lost it, but Fox is able to save it. Van Exel for 3.
Terribly quick shot. There was no reset of the clock. Still at least 10 seconds to go when Nick pulled the trigger.
And Malone already has a half dozen rebounds.
One of the ways for all of the Lakers to get their game going is take shots that they can make, and they start with 3-point field goals. Those will eat your confidence up in a hurry if you're not knocking them down.
Rick Fox commits the foul.
Trying to hold Brian Russell away from the ball. The Jazz have all learned from Stockton, from Hornacek, from Isley about that change of pace, change of direction. You sort of walk your man in, and then at the opportune time, you just bust and get right open. As the forum lights up with the sign of Kobe Bryant going to the scorer's table.
Bryant's into the game, replacing Fox.
Del Harris is going to need offense from Kobe Bryant, Eddie Jones, and Eldon Campbell with this unit out on the floor. And they've somehow got to wake Eldon Campbell up. He has gone to sleep in the conference finals. Almost been a non-factor for the LA Lakers.
Utah by a deuce. Their second lead today. They were ahead 2-1 early in the contest.
Now see, Utah is trapping, and they don't have Robert Horry in there to play the top man, and that's going to hurt the Lakers.
Bryant had nowhere to go with it. Jones was able to save it, but then Ostertag blocks it, and the Jazz have it.
Look how hard Karl Malone's running the floor.
Russell looking into Malone, guarded by Campbell.
The Lakers have to stay committed to a sprint game. Tough shot, Russell.
Blunt clears it to Van Exel.
Steve, Utah is not making that early pass in the first quarter of this afternoon's game.
Campbell rimmed out, offensive board by Blunt. Bryant wide open, passes up the 3. And now Campbell low post again, bowling his way against Ostertag, who got a piece of it. Isley.
Ostertag is extremely long, and Campbell's going to have to do a better job of getting the shot away. He thinks he can just jump over him, and he can't.
Look at the patience of Karl Malone in the low post.
Ball away over Blunt, won't go down. Campbell to Bryant, and the Lakers will hold for the final shot of the period.
Jerry Sloan is hot. He wants better defense out of his team. Gets it right there as they force a mistake from Kobe Bryant. and they will have the final 5 seconds for a score.
The Jazz love to throw long here and then kick out to a guy who's stepping onto the basket. Watch for Karl Malone to be the swing guy. Running out of time, though.
Isley lost it, and the horn sounds to end the first quarter. Utah ends the quarter with a 6-0 run to take the lead. At the end of one, it's Utah 20 and Los Angeles 18. The marquee players coming to play today with 8 points apiece.
But notice how those stars take that punishment. They don't respond by losing their head and getting in a confrontation that could get them ejected and possibly cost them a game or even a series.
Utah out shooting the Lakers 41-32. Los Angeles has gone over 3 minutes without scoring.
Now, the Lakers have been troubled by 30% shooting every first quarter as Shandon Anderson wheels inside against Bryant.
Well, Steve, the numbers are staggering in favor of the Utah Jazz throughout the series, and they're continuing. Shandon Anderson continues as well to punish Kobe Bryant inside.
Chris Morris also in for the Jazz as the Lakers turn it over. So Van Exel has already gone to the bench. And Shandon Anderson's been one of the heroes.
The star the other night who was huge in the fourth quarter with 13 points. Shandon Anderson just devastating in the post. This is a tough lineup for Del Harris. Not a lot of guys in the front court other than Robert Horry who are fluid thinkers on the court.
Antoine Carr into the game for the Jazz as Shaquille returns for the Lakers and Eldon Campbell will go to the bench. Stockton continues to sit as Jerry Sloan has gotten such great production from his bench. Why not?
The patience of Jerry Sloan, Tom, in the substitution pattern amazes me. But he knows, and they've really worked on building confidence in his players.
Isley for three, and the Jazz, with 5 reserves on the court, are handing it to the Lakers much as they did Friday night in Game 3.
Yeah, those same reserves built a 10-point lead for Jerry Sloan, and that had the LA Lakers fighting uphill the entire ball game. Confident bench looking on as Howard Isley steps back. Now, you want to see confidence, and this is a guy that was struggling coming into this series, nails a deep three.
But the confidence in that he knows no matter what, he's going to play 15 to 25 minutes a game. Another tough call against the Jazz in the post.
And already their bench outscoring the Lakers 9-0, a pattern that has been all too familiar to Los Angeles. The Jazz bench has outplayed the Lakers in 2 of the 3 games so far in this series, and 9-0 to start this one, Game 4.
And they'll all want to go to the All-Star game.
Why not?
Well, one of the real keys for Utah is that their second-round draft picks, they got a lot of those guys on this team. They have been playing like all-stars of late.
Kobe Bryant continues to struggle. O'Neal can't handle that wild effort. And the Lakers turn it over. They didn't have a turnover until Kobe came into the game, and since then, they've been plagued with 3 turnovers.
Well, they're not all Kobe. I mean, Kobe's not doing what he should do, which is shoot. He's trying to now become a passer. Let it go. Do what you do best. There's no tomorrow for the Lakers. Suddenly they want to be an extra pass team. You're going to get a foul against Kobe Bryant.
Now, Steve, I believe Kobe is responsible for 2 of the 3.
Kobe quickly to the bench here after the turnovers, after picking up the foul. It looks like pretty good defense there.
Eddie Jones onto the court for Los Angeles as Shandon Anderson trying to post him up. Now sets a back screen for Carr. Isley.
They got Antoine Carr with the mismatch. He's wide open.
5 on the shot clock. Isley again.
For 3. Howard Isley, back-to-back 3-pointers.
Tom, the Jazz work on that with Isley all the time, where they count down the shot clock as he's got the dribble, because he's the guy who has it so many times at the end of that shot clock. They work on the bump, the push, the forced rush shot. He's ready to deliver.
Jones finally breaks the spell with a Laker bucket after the Jazz, thanks to their bench, had built a 10-point edge. That one cuts it to 8. Utah had scored 12 straight points.
Why don't the Lakers pass it to Shaq more in the set offense?
The Jazz, no one else for that matter, have found an answer for him yet. That's probably what Del Harris asks every time out. He may be asking that as we speak. Timeout. 9 Budweiser.
Now is the perfect time.
Key to being a good bench player is to be able to come in and change the flow of the action, and that's what this entire second unit, which plays together so well, has done. Shandon Anderson, Ostertag, Isley, everyone delivering. Antoine Carr setting great screens. The bench production for the Utah Jazz. Greg Ostertag has played marvelous ball today.
And that's from a former NBA Sixth Man Award winner in praise of the bench. Yesterday we saw the Pacers bench pay some dividends in their win over the Bulls, but I think that the Jazz bench is the best in the NBA.
I agree with you, Tom, and Larry Bird certainly showed a lot of confidence in those guys, and the quickness of Jalen Rose, the quickness of Travis Best really paid big dividends for Indiana.
Right now you have a Laker team that's confused offensively as how to attack, and that's one of the reasons Shaq is not getting the ball. Eddie Jones with the runner against the shot clock.
I'll tell you how
they ignore Shaq.
I'll tell you how you get Shaq the ball. Put him in the low post, have him to put his hand up and come down and throw it to him. There's nothing confusing about that.
But give the Utah Jazz some credit. They're confusing him, and that's creating a problem. Karl.
See the Utah big front court players. More bench again from Antoine Carr. These guys can set screens, they can handle, they can pass, they can shoot.
And the
skilled players.
The carnage continues. It's 16-2 now in favor of the Utah bench against their Laker counterparts as Antoine Carr knocked in the last one.
And one of the major differences, Jerry Sloan has a ton of confidence in his bench, and he's letting these guys play. As Bill pointed out early, Del Harris is looking for a combination, and his players are in or out in a short period of time.
But Steve, to Sloan's credit, he builds confidence. Oh, nice clear out by Shaq with the off arm.
Why do they not go to him every time is the question.
I thought I asked that.
Well, it hangs. It continues to just hang around here. It's been out there for some time. Ostertag misses a jam. Fox leads the Laker break, but the Jazz are back on defense.
Good hustle, Antoine Carr to deny Shaq in transition.
You know, what the Lakers have to do is take advantage of getting to the offensive end quickly and create a quick offensive opportunity. Shaq busting through 2-3 screens to try to finally get position. No clear out, Bill.
Well, you just drop the left arm. It's very good. The great scorers do that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest scorer in the history of the game, he was the master at that. Take it up with two hands. At the last moment, just drop it off.
That was fun. Ostertag committed that last foul, and now Joey Crawford with another call here. Double foul on Isley. And on Fisher.
Normally you'd look up at the clock, 7:40, and say the Lakers are in good shape. Jazz got 14 fouls. Next one puts the Lakers at the line, but the Lakers have been awful in delivering the goods from the free throw line in this series.
2 of 4 in today's game as Fisher misses from outside, but Ori with an offensive board.
Steve, I'm looking at the same scoreboard you are, and I don't see how the Lakers can feel good about having 22 points with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter.
They can't and shouldn't, but they've got to stay in the ball game, and one of the ways to do it is to attack early. Shandon Anderson
lost it to Fox, and then Fox throws it away. Morris couldn't hang on, and Shaquille O'Neal to Eddie Jones.
Great strength on the outlet by Shaq.
Fisher.
Not his shot.
He got his own. Penetrates this time. Still can't hit. Ori is fouled. Looks like it'll be Antoine Carr with a foul. Timeout at the Forum, 6:47 left till halftime. The Jazz up 8 on the Lakers.
Oh, I mean, a 9-to-5 job versus doing something you love, and getting paid for it. Wasn't tough at all for me.
Training camp getting ready to get underway. How are the Sparks going to be this year?
I think it'll be awesome. Training camp is pretty tough right now. We have 18 very talented women, competing for spots. We're going to be very talented. We should make a run for the championship.
Got any advice for your Laker compadres?
Keep playing hard. Boxing out. They should win this game.
Good luck, Allison. We look forward to seeing the WNBA. Tom, starts June the 13th here on NBC.
That's right. The Sparks will be at Phoenix on that opening weekend of play here on NBC as Robert Horry hits the free throw. And Robert Horry, praised by his coach Del Harris as one of the more intelligent Lakers. You've called him a cerebral forward, but playing often with a heavy heart has a young daughter born with severe birth defects, requires constant care. It has to be something that gnaws at his psyche occasionally.
It's always on his mind. I've known Robert for many years, a terrific young man, but that daughter has to have 24-hour day care time, and they really have to have a nurse with her all night long to make sure she continues breathing the young daughter as she sleeps, and it's a very, very serious problem. We all hope that that can be resolved in the near future.
Isley is 3 for 3 behind the arc. And the bench continues to pay dividends for the Utah Jazz. Why even bring the starters back?
Well, babyface Isley is really playing the part of an assassin and hurting the Los Angeles Lakers. You know, their three-point game is not nearly as advertised as the Lakers, but it's been more efficient in this conference final.
Karl Malone is back for the Jazz now, but they're hitting over 80% of their shots in this quarter. Up against the clock, the Lakers with a miscue, 24-second violation. What else can go wrong? They just continue to make the mental mistakes.
Terrific defense, though, by Utah. Shaq did not attack Antoine Carr. Shaq started this game going very aggressively. He had the huge numbers, but since he came back in after a brief rest, it has just not been there for Shaquille.
Well, there's 5:40 to go in the ball game, and what the Lakers have to do is just continue to work. They're not that far down on the scoreboard, even though they haven't had anything that they can believe in. Malone.
No way to stop that.
Now, that's what makes this Utah team so great. All the cutters, the three-point shooters. But when you got a guy like Karl who you can give the ball, a great passer who can hit a fadeaway 18-footer, that's Kevin McHale. That's Larry Bird. That's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And Shaq gets the roll. No way to stop that either. Los Angeles had turned it over 5 times in the last 6 minutes before that Shaq basket. That was after they went the first 11 without a miscue.
This is the starting lineup for the Lakers, with the exception of Van Exel for Derek Fisher. Del Harris been under a tremendous amount of criticism on his own website for starting Derek Fisher. But Del Harris told us that, hey, it's not been our starts, it's been our finishes.
That's right. That's why he was reluctant to start Van Exel in place of Fisher, as many fans and writers here in L.A. had called for.
You see, now you've got Lakers that are reluctant to shoot, and you've got to put the ball in the air. Van Exel was open, didn't. Fox didn't, and then they end up with a tough shot inside. They'll get the ball back with the new 24.
Steve, how did Karl Malone end up 5 feet off the court that time? Well, here's a guy in great defensive position, the anchor of the defense, and he ends up in photographer's row.
That guy that you said the biggest, the strongest, he gave him a little pop. Morris out of the ball game, Russell in. Chris Morris was terrific in game 3, has not been a factor, didn't get much done, so he goes down. O'Neal
tries the reverse, will shoot 2. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Often see players, Tom, going at it with the officials. That time, one of the more clever things that has gone on down here. Joey Crawford was screaming to Karl Malone, "It was off you, it was off you," and he was pointing at him, and Karl pointed back and he says, "You're right, you're right."
Well, actually, throughout this series, it's been the Lakers that have been crying the blues. I think, Bill and Steve, too much so, too focused on the officials not getting the calls, blah, 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 instead of just playing basketball.
And we saw Reggie Miller's comments in the post game yesterday saying, hey, look, we've been complaining too much. We got to come out and play basketball, take advantage of what the referees are going to allow. You have to be the aggressors. That's what Karl Malone has done. That's what John Stockton has done.
And Stockton is back for Utah at the point.
And it's a lot easier for Karl to agree with the referees when they're up 3-0.
That's right. And up in this game, 35-27. Low post Malone, checked by Blunt. And he blocks the fall away that time. Corey Blunt with a good D. Now Jones, one-on-one against Anderson. Gave it up.
See, they make that quick early swing, but nobody attacks. Now they're going to set up with O'Neal, and he's got to make his move quickly.
But the groan of the Laker fans when the team, the Lakers, just pulled up on that fast break and didn't attack.
And then O'Neal missed it, point-blank range, right underneath.
Fast break points have been a half-court game. Utah's got 2, the Lakers have 2. This advantage clearly in favor of Utah's Karl Malone delivers on a beautiful up and under layup.
From Stockton, as he had the brilliant body control to evade Shaq and put it through. 14 points for the rest of the Lakers. Shaq has 13. That's been the theme of this series as well. 3-pointer by Van Exel.
Even though the shot goes down, you just don't see the look of confidence on Nick's face. You don't see him calling the crowd out.
Well, one of the things that will give you confidence is to take some shots, see it go in. And, you know, he had lost his confidence, forced to take that one. Fast break point situation, even Malone, the foul against Corey Blunt.
And that says that the tempo of the game in favor of the Jazz, as you noted, Bill.
Foul number 34, Shaquille O'Neal.
And as they go to the free throw line, Karl Malone will step there. And what is that I smell? Karl Malone has this unusual superstition. He's worn the same pair of socks for every game this season.
And Tom, I was in the locker room with Karl before the game, and I was looking at that pair of socks, and he's sitting in there with just the one pair of socks, ratty as can be, holes everywhere. He spends a lot of time sewing it back together. It was not good. Looked like Karl had just spent the night at Venice Beach.
They're falling apart, but I like the fact that he darns them himself. And Jim Gray, how long can those socks last?
Well, they've lasted all season. He put some little booties over those socks. He said some guy just came in the locker room, made a big deal out of it. He says, I've been wearing the same pair of socks every year since I have been a pro now. I said, Karl, those have to smell pretty bad. He says, no, I get a new pair at the beginning of each year, but it's been the same superstition I've had now for 13 or 14 years.
Jim, I wouldn't call them booties in front of Karl if I were you.
No, that's what he called them.
Russell with a brick.
Russell's trying to shoot off his own dribble rather than trying to get it from other people's creativity.
And Eddie Jones off the transition game nails the jump shot. And just one final word about the socks. Who could forget the socks, the floppy socks of Pistol Pete Maravich, who played for the Jazz when they were in New Orleans. And Ostertag pounds it through. Pistol Pete's number hanging in the Delta Center now, one of the greatest players in the history of basketball.
And that franchise got their first victory ever at my expense. Pete Maravich hit a game winner in my face for the franchise's first victory down in New Orleans.
Shaq muscles it in.
That's a first. An admission by you that you got mugged.
I got faced out by the great Pistol. He torched us for 30 plus in the second half alone.
Lakers are within 6.
Now, this game smells a lot like Game 3 in that the Jazz have had the lead, have been controlling the tempo, and had the Lakers confused, but the Lakers have been hanging around trying to stay in it, and O'Neal and company trying to find a way to make it a ball game.
The latest from Indiana on the Eastern Conference Finals between the Bulls and Pacers. Chicago leads it 2-1. Both teams worked out earlier today. Chris Mullin practicing his free throw shooting. Larry Bird proudly displaying the Pacers motto. And a little bit later on, Michael Jordan appearing at Market Square Arena looking dapper in that hat and quite relaxed. Reggie Miller, by the way, did not practice today with his sprained right ankle. We will update his status at halftime. Right now in Los Angeles, the Jazz lead the Lakers by 6 as we send you back to Tom, Bill, Snapper, and Jim.
Thank you, Hannah. Back at the Forum where Shaq has just picked up his 3rd foul.
That's not good news, but they have been exposing O'Neal and the last line of defense as Karl Malone is coming hard to the rim, so consecutive fouls. He will sit down for the last 145. Elvin Campbell back in.
Steve, what the Jazz have really exploited, though, is that the Laker big men do not rotate defensively at all. They rely far too heavily on their great athleticism to get up in the air and block shots. The Jazz just picking Los Angeles apart with exquisite ball movement.
As Malone hits the first free throw, we invite you to log on to msnbcsports.com, and there you'll find Showtime Online's inside story on the NBA playoffs. As Malone sights and hits the second free throw. You can see who's in John Sally's spotlight. Check on video features, get Bill Walton's game previews, and email in your playoff questions, all at Showtime Online, MSCsports.com.
Eddie Jones limping after that exchange.
Eddie Jones is the most effective offensive player now on the floor for the Lakers with Shaq out, but they go to Campbell and get a foul against Jeff
Hornacek with a reach-in, committing his 2nd.
But it's been a problem for Los Angeles trying to get Eddie Jones off here. When he has played really well, the Lakers have been virtually unstoppable. The games that the Lakers have not gotten good production from Eddie Jones, the team has struggled horribly.
And today it's been, again, mostly Shaq. Shaq has scored 15 points, and the rest of the team only 19. Shaq is accounting for 50% of their shooting and has hit 6 of 12. The rest of the team only 7 of 25.
Tom, this Laker team right now is playing a lot like the Laker team played when they had Kareem before they got Magic in the 1979 draft.
Malone and one, the foul on Campbell.
You know what the beauty of this play is, the little subtle nod that Hornacek gives Karl Malone. Just go, watch. Head goes, and there's no screen. This is where the Lakers have been befuddled. They don't know when the screen is coming, when the guy is going to cut to the rim, and the defense, which are relying on the big man, is too late. Another foul. Malone with a chance to get to 10 points in the quarter.
In talking to the Jazz about their improved passing over the last couple years, the coaching staff really feels that it came alive when Jeff Hornacek joined the team. And here's a guy that the cutting improved by everybody, the ball handling, the sense, the awareness that passing was such a vital part for this team's long-term success.
Jazz back up by 10. Fox chips 3 off the lead. Lakers needed that one with just over a minute, now just under a minute left in the half.
Every team has a personality, and the Lakers can't suddenly become a physical team, a half-court executing team. They've got to be what they are, and I'm sure they're going to talk about it in the next 24 minutes. Block.
Jones blocks Hornacek. Lakers get it back. They're down 7 just before halftime.
Time to go 2 for 1 for Los Angeles, but they can't even turn a great block shot into a quick scoring opportunity.
Van Exel leaves it. Layup missed by Jones. Missed the layup.
Intimidation, Ostertag.
And Fox with a foul of Hornacek.
Jeff Hornacek, really one of the great athletes.
You know, the best thing about the Jazz is they run straight line. Now, he is not running fluidly, but he's taking the straightest course to the hoop that he can, where the Lakers are not doing the same thing. They don't get the defense exposed in the open. Hornacek for a pair of free throws.
But Steve, he's not just a great basketball player. When Jeff Hornacek was 9 years old, he was the national champion in the baseball pitch, hit, and throw championships.
His dad, in fact, was a high school baseball and basketball coach in the Chicago area.
And Jeff, the competition was in Atlanta, and they drove down there. The family did. Their mom was 9 months pregnant with the second son in the family, Jeff being the oldest. Jeff went down there and dominated the competition, and then went on to basketball greatness.
Was a walk-on at Iowa State, and has become a brilliant throw.
Lakers hope for the final shot with Van Exel.
Scoops it up, no good. Follow, no good at the buzzer. At the end of the first half, Shaquille O'Neal once again has played well. The rest of the team missing in action. At the end of the first half in Game 4, Utah looking for the sweep and leading the Lakers at intermission 47-38. Now stay tuned for the Prudential halftime report.
Yeah, just last week he was saying they should change his name from Shaquille to Dominator, and he hasn't been a dominant force, and certainly the Lakers have had all kinds of problems as Derek Fisher got nailed on a screen.
And Hornacek missed a wide open look, too hard off the glass.
The hardest thing, though, to get back for a team is their spirit. A quick 20-second timeout here.
20 seconds.
Del Harris is saying, hey, you see my guy just get peeled down there. I mean,
well,
somebody smacked him good.
That was a great screen by Karl Malone.
Well, John Stockton and Karl Malone hoping to return to the finals where they gave Chicago a scare before falling last season. They have the most playoff games without a title, 141 for Stockton the most, and 131 for Karl. Of course, if they do return to the finals, there'll be a slight difference. This time they'll have home court advantage.
The only guy that's applauding that is Elgin Baylor. You know how long he's been sitting there as the #1 guy, and now somebody has gone by him. So he knows what it's like to work and languish without a title, and Stockton and Malone don't want to stay in that same category.
Well, the toughest part of it for Elgin was that the championship finally came just after he hurt his knee so terribly that he could never come back and play again. That brilliant style that he had.
Fisher with a penetration and the pull-up up against the shot clock. It won't go. And rebounded by Utah.
All the loose balls continue to go Utah's way.
I think the Lakers just can't get into panic thinking. A 9-point lead is not insurmountable. So they just got to stay in there and play basketball and do all of the things necessary to get a win.
Malone short on the follow-away. Ori gives it up to Fisher.
But to win, Steve, the Lakers have to... Oh, what a great lob.
Nicely done. Shaq from Fox.
That's a good way to win. Throw that play again. I would call that play number 1. And until they stop that play, I wouldn't call any other.
Malone on the low block against Ori, gave it to Hornacek.
And the Jazz don't want to stand around, but they get a bust out for Hornacek. Foster picks up the loose ball and lays it back in.
Shaq blocked it, but Foster beat everybody else to the ball.
The Lakers just standing around watching Shaq's brilliance. When a guy goes for a block, you've got to be on the move, anticipating it's going to be made, and turn it into a fast break layup.
Entry pass to Shaq. No basket, foul on the floor by Foster.
Hornacek is hot. He felt he got hammered there. Hornacek wide open down the lane. He just gets hit right across the wrist there. No call. Everybody's just standing. Turning the corner, and again, Ori, Shaq underneath the basket defensively. That will not get it done.
Well, one thing that the Lakers are flirting with when they put Shaq in that position is a 4th personal foul. They got to keep the guy out on the floor.
Shaq again against Foster. Turns on him, misses the shot. Malone tapped it to himself. He has 10 rebounds.
And he's rebounding today as well as I've ever seen on the defensive end. Oh, what change of pace, change of direction by Stockton.
But Ori rejects it.
That's the help that the Lakers have been looking for. It was a terrific change of pace by Stockton and a better play, and then they sneak one off the inbound.
And it's a Laker foul.
It's amazing when you watch John Stockton year after year, how he just has not lost anything in terms of quickness, in terms of the instincts, in complete control at 36 years of age, barely 5'10" as a point guard. Oh, he's lost something.
And he and Fisher get locked up. Fisher committed his 2nd foul a moment ago. That one will go on Stockton for the hook.
What has he lost?
He's lost some quickness. He's lost some foot speed. He's gotten more smart, but he has lost a whole lot.
Here's my glasses, Steve. the Jazz are up 3-0. He's playing better than ever. Not as long.
Playing fewer minutes, and Isley has done yeoman work in replacing him at the point. And here's double foul. Double foul called.
Stockton and Fisher.
They've been locked up several times in this game. And
now, difference is Isley's played great today. So if John Stockton has to get in foul trouble, they got somebody that's playing with a lot of confidence. They're going to get an offensive foul this way. This one against Robert Ori.
And for Ori, that's number 2, as the Lakers can't stand prosperity.
Well, the game is disintegrating into a series of paybacks, fouls. It's where all the players have to keep their collective heads.
Stockton driving baseline. Hornacek, beautifully done. Hornacek from Stockton.
That is just terrific basketball. They know Stockton's not going to try to score that ball inside. They just keep moving. Gets it in perfect rhythm for Hornacek.
Shaquille works himself free for the layup. Shaq has 19.
Trying to trap the ball, get it out of Stockton's hands early, and make someone else beat them. But all these other guys are playing with such confidence right now. They don't mind seeing John Stockton not have the basketball. Pick and roll.
Pick and stay in this case, but Stockton gave it up to Hornacek, and he misses it. Rebounded by Ori. Quick outlet to Shaq, who runs the floor. Shaq to Fox for 3.
Shaq just doing it all, realizing that nobody else is passing on the fast break. He might as well become the next Magic Johnson.
And the Lakers within 6. Lakers have hit 5 of 10 from the arc. Robert Ori called for his 3rd foul.
Normally you don't like to outlet the ball to a 7'2", 325-pound man running the lane. But Shaq just handled it beautifully, smoothly, getting the 3.
Jones blocking Stockton's shot. It'll be Jazz ball with 19 to shoot.
And Stockton, a few words for Joey Crawford on that one. Went down the lane. Eddie Jones riding him all the way before he got the block. 19 on the shot clock for the Jazz.
And this is what so many teams try to do against John Stockton. Come with the off guard. Here Eddie Jones for the Lakers with more size, more strength, more length to try to deny John Stockton.
Skip pass to Russell. Challenge Shaq. If it's on Shaquille, it'll be his fourth. It could be on Fox, however. Let's see.
That has to be on Shaquille.
It is on Shaq, and that is number 4.
That is the problem that they've had. See, they are allowing the guy to beat him off the dribble. Who's the last line of defense? Shot the ball. He got to it first, then continued on, got piece of the arm and the body.
Steve, let's go back to Friday night, game 3. Brian Russell late in the game. 2 huge drives right down the basket, knowing he was going to get his head taken off. Shaq has to go to the bench now. Del Harris protecting him with foul. But when I saw Brian Russell willing to put his life and health, career on the line, I knew that this Jazz team was ready to take the next step toward that championship.
You think it was life and health? It was that dangerous?
If you drive in like that on Shaq, your life is in your own hands.
Fox for 3, air ball.
Just missed.
Well, Fox looks like he thinks he got hit, but that was a real ratty-looking shot from Rick Fox.
Technical foul on Del Harris.
Technical foul, Del Harris.
Del doing that country appeal. My man gets hit and you call a technical on me. Is that right? That's how this works?
We may have to log on to the website to see just what he said.
DelHarris.com. He's been getting quite a few suggestions.
All good ones, I bet.
Absolutely.
Jeff Hornacek, deadly at the free throw line, sinks the technical.
Adele's in a very tough situation because a terrific coach, a great teacher, but the team has not responded.
Improved their record all 4 years as their head coach, but what happens if the Lakers are swept today to Del Harris?
Well, he'll be under an incredible amount of criticism, but hey, this has been the players not getting the job done as they have been beaten soundly in every category.
You always say that, but guess who's responsible? The coach. The coach always takes the heat as O'Neal sits and looks and watches.
That doesn't make it right.
Well, we never said the world was right.
Malone from long range, just rimmed out. Fox to Jones.
Great hands
by Hornacek. Here's Malone facing on Campbell. Shoots over it. Rimmed off to Ori.
Now the Lakers are getting rebounds with a chance to run, and they've got to want it more than the Utah Jazz. They can't meander up the floor any longer. They've got to really come with some reckless abandon.
Jones an open 3. Rebounded by Campbell.
How is that not a push-off foul against Eldon Campbell?
Fox misses a 3, and this time Malone makes sure that's 11 rebounds.
Well, there is such a thing as a high percentage shot. The Lakers are not taking it, and that's why their percentage is down, and they're down 9 on the scoreboard. 2 3-point attempts when you can get inside that line and get something cheap.
Derek Fisher called for the foul as he tried to body Stockton, and Derek has 4.
John Stockton just absolutely relentless trying to establish that screening position.
You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Quite as easily as that. But don't let the other guys get home. And Shaquille, when he's caught the ball outside of the paint, has been relatively ineffective. Inside the paint, he has just been devastating, picking up tons of fouls on the Utah post defenders.
And in recognition of this look inside the game, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund.
And our congratulations to Shaquille for being named first-team All-NBA center for the first time in his brilliant 6-year career. The other winners during that span were always Akeem Olajuwon and David Robinson going back and forth with #1 center.
Kobe Bryant on the floor for the Lakers as Russell goes right by Kobe and lays it in. Welcome back, Kobe.
Well, it's time for the small lineup for the Los Angeles Lakers to get into the game. Van Exel, Jones, and Bryant are all out there. They're going to have to carry the scoring with O'Neal on the bench.
Van Exel to Campbell, who misses the jam. Malone with a board. Despite Karl Malone not scoring in this quarter, the Jazz have just had a chance, they will, at the free throw line to take their biggest lead of the game.
He hasn't scored this entire quarter?
Of the quarter.
That's shocking, isn't it?
Well, they're killing the Lakers. They're up by 11, and they're in total control, and Karl is only being the defensive rebounder and igniting the fast break.
But remember in Game 3, Karl Malone, John Stockton were both on the bench when they built the lead against Shaquille O'Neal, who was out on the floor. O'Neal on the bench right now.
Ostertag has 6 points. This is the first free throw. And tomorrow, an NBA Memorial Day special beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern with NBA Showtime. Then Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals as Reggie Miller, who hit the big shots yesterday, takes on Michael and the Bulls. And if necessary, on Tuesday, this series will continue in prime time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. As of now, it doesn't look very likely.
Well, we certainly hope that Reggie Miller's ankle is going to be fine. Hate to see series affected like that.
Kobe Bryant given a wide open look at a 3, or that's a 2. Had his foot on the line, I guess. Had a toe on the line.
Finally, some good ball movement, some effective perimeter shooting. We talked about the rebounding. Karl has 12 rebounds. Shaq only has 3 today. And all of them in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Bryant rebounds the Ostertag miss. Lakers want to pump up the tempo if they can. Just over 5 minutes left in the third. They trail by 10.
They got to get that attitude that they can't be stopped on the offensive end. A big effort by Eldon Campbell. That's the best move that he has made. He is yet to score a field goal, but gets a foul against Ostertag.
Number 2 on Ostertag.
Del Harris was telling us yesterday about the frustrations of coaching Eldon Campbell, and how do you put this guy into the rotation? I mean, they've tried him so many different ways to fit in with Shaq, but really, he only becomes an effective player when Shaq is not in the game.
Playoff scoring by Eldon at an all-time low. And Adele telling us he plays much better as a 5, as a center, than he does at a power forward spot, with or without Shaq.
And so it makes it very difficult for Del Harris. You know, with Robert Horry not playing brilliant basketball this series, but with the alternatives being Eldon Campbell, Corey Blunt, and Mario Bennett, that's not a choice that Del Harris is willing to make.
Isley penetrates, finds the open man, Russell. Long range 2, Brian Russell with 8 points.
Russell come alive here in the quarter, 6 1/4, the leading scorer in the quarter for the Utah Jazz, but it's that same kind of inefficiency defending the pick and roll that's got the Lakers in trouble. Campbell trying to force it.
Did force it. Ostertag blocked it. Eddie Jones double pumps and draws the foul.
This has been Brian Russell's quarter, though, Steve. And here's a guy who moved to San Bernardino, a suburb of Los Angeles, when he was 10 years old, went to neighboring Long Beach State here, was the center on that team, played the middle of a 2-3 zone, and now has just developed into an outstanding small forward.
That foul was the second on Karl Malone.
Eddie Jones. When the team wins, Eddie Jones is just absolutely spectacular. Probably because of him being spectacular, they're winning. But when they lose, the numbers just are not there.
He has 11 today.
Nice pass, Karl.
Ostertag made the fake. Kobe bit on it, and Ostertag from Malone with now 9 points.
What they have done against the Laker trap is center the ball very quickly. The defense doesn't react quick enough. You've got people standing right at the basket like Ostertag for an easy 2.
That type of play, though, it just doesn't work anymore against Utah.
Van Exel to Campbell, nicely done. Van Exel penetrated, drew the defense, and found Campbell for the jam.
You always say you don't want an opponent to hang around. That's what the Lakers are doing right now, trying to make a little surge with 3:39 to go, but back to Russell against Bryant.
Blocked. And the crowd gets fired up over that.
Eldon Campbell's out of the play. His shoe is untied in the back court. Isley takes a foul.
Now, Kobe Bryant has been, he's been posterized a few times with some post moves, but this one is going to be sent back. A real good reaction against a pretty lively Brian Russell. O'Neal coming back in the game. Huge gamble here by Del Harris, but I think Del Harris thinks if I'm going to make a push, it's right now.
And he's got a little momentum now, and I think he wants to capitalize on it. The Lakers within 8, just over 3 minutes left in the third.
Gamble, the house is about to fall off the cliff.
Van Exel to Shaq.
The mudslides are coming, Steve. This is not a gamble.
It is, because if O'Neal picks up another foul, the slides have hit.
Well, what are the Lakers going to try to win this series in 9 games or what?
I think that was your prediction.
Malone with his first basket of the quarter from Isley.
But the one thing the Jazz have been able to do, keep this crowd out of this ball game. Look at that, dominating the paint. And that area belongs to the Utah Jazz and not Shaquille O'Neal.
Pick and roll, Van Exel and O'Neal, and Isley knocks Van Exel down. Howard Isley picks up his 4th foul.
Karl Malone has just been everywhere. Setting the screen and then the roll. The Lakers just cannot deal with any of the Jazz offensive executions. Karl Malone just too good.
This Western Conference showdown has come down to the game's most dominant figures. Shaq is doing his part to keep the Lakers alive, but he continues to scream for help. He knows that on the other side, Karl Malone is not about to let up. 18 first-half points ignited the Jazz. His outward emotion offers the Lakers no hope. Time is running out. It's do or die for L.A. 2:28 left, 3rd quarter. The Jazz up 10 on the Lakers.
It would do the Lakers a ton of good to see this lead at the end of the quarter down to the 4 to 6 point range. They would know that they're making some progress. This unit that's out on the floor being cohesive. They haven't had that. Del Harris has had that same frustrated look and conversation with the officials the entire ballgame.
Would help to make a free throw.
A continuing Laker problem, you're right. They are 11 of 16, where the Jazz are 16 of 18.
But you're abandoning your theory that it's not how many you say?
You got to make some.
Now he says. Pick and roll, Malone, no shot. Skip pass, wide open, Hornacek for 3. Won't go down, Shaq clears.
But see, even then, when you get a great rebound by Shaq off a corner baseline jumper by the Jazz, they still can't get a fast break, and they turn it over once again, the Lakers.
Van Exel lost it and stands under the basket. Doesn't even get back on defense as Malone puts it through.
That's how you fast break, when guards get caught underneath the basket, and they use it out to the races.
Van Exel made no effort, stood under the basket.
Now you have to wonder about the team chemistry for the Lakers.
Or their team heart. The sweep is about to happen unless suddenly the Lakers can pick up their emotion, their desire, their intensity. Kobe Bryant at the free throw line.
You know, a year ago, they were in a similar situation, and everyone remembers the one thing about Kobe Bryant was he shot the air ball. But it was Kobe Bryant that brought them back into the ball game.
Next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, NBC begins coverage of the French Open from Roland Garros in Paris. Pete Sampras, Michael Chang, Martina Hingis, Venus Williams, and more battle it out on the clay. The French Open next Saturday on NBC.
Last year in Game 4 of this series between these two teams, Karl Malone played the greatest game that I've ever seen him play personally. Today, he's playing phenomenal, but a different type of game.
Eldon Campbell picks off the pass on the pick and roll. Good defense. Van Exel lost it. He was fouled. So Del Harris trying everything, including Campbell and Shaq on the floor at the same time here.
Well, Eldon Campbell actually has been better for them in the last 2 pick and roll situations than Robert Horry or Rick Fox had been. He's been out there. He's made them make some adjustment. And Del Harris smiling because Van Exel gets to the free throw line.
But see, the problem with going with the big lineup of Eldon and Shaq at the same time is that they get no fast break opportunity. This lineup is not going to be able to run.
Their job is to get the rebound. They got rabbits. They got Eddie Jones. They got Van Exel. They got Bryant. Those guys should be the sprint guys.
They got rabbits, but the Jazz got the wolves.
You need 4 guys running to make a fast break happen.
Approaching the final minute of the 3rd.
Eldon Campbell with a silly foul against Jeff Hornacek, trying to set a good solid screen.
3rd on Eldon.
We got a double team.
Double technical.
Hornacek and Campbell.
Joey Crawford said, look, that nudging and bumping that you're doing, we're trying to keep you guys from provoking something, and you want to keep it going. So he hammered them both with tees, but Hornacek gets a shooter.
Hornacek has not missed a free throw in this series. The Utah guards are just relentless in terms of coming in there and setting those good legal position screens. The big guys don't like that. They throw them out of the way and then charge incorrectly that the Utah Jazz set dirty, illegal screens.
5 for 5 at the line in today's game for Hornacek. Still perfect. Kobe lost it. Look at Russell run the floor, but the Laker defense was back that time.
The trailer on the break, a real trademark ever since the days of the great Thurl Bailey for the Utah Jazz.
Malone shoots over Campbell. No good. 2 Lakers. Van Exel and Bryant lost it. Jazz get it back.
Tom, I love it when teams get an offensive rebound and bring it back out and reset. The Chicago Bulls yesterday were great at that. Too many times guys get that offensive rebound, I think they're almost forced to stick it right back up there.
Skip pass to Russell. 2 to shoot. He got it off. Hit the top of the board. That'll be a 24-second violation. Didn't draw iron.
Brian Russell, who's got about 20 to 25 family members here in attendance today. He was dealing with the ticket brokers just prior to the game, trying to improve the quality of those seats. Jerry Sloan says,
Did you do him any good? Did you do him any good?
No, he was in the dealing with the ticket brokers. He's got about 30 family members here. Van Exel.
Intimidated on the shot, missed it badly. Russell fumbles it out of bounds as the third quarter ends. The Utah
be produced or rebroadcast without the express written consent of.
A good adjustment by O'Neal after the Ostertag defense, but just a little bit too hard.
LA had just 1 field goal in the last 5 minutes, 20 seconds, and only 5 baskets in the entire third quarter. They're lucky to trail by just 10, Steve.
Chris Morris for 3. And like a predator, like a shark smelling of blood in the water, the Jazz are trying to put the knockout punch on the Lakers.
The Jazz have got phenomenal play out of Chris Morris, out of Shandon Anderson, out of Brian Russell. The 3-man, the small forward plays well for Utah. They are tough to stop.
Jones can't answer, but Shaq off the offensive board jams it home.
Again, with as much time left in the ball game, and it's just under 11 minutes to play, where the Lakers have to pick it up is in a belief that they can change something out on the floor. And it's been collisions that have gone in favor of the Utah Jazz. You see after every foul call, the Lakers' heads drop. That's not good body language. Malone out, Antoine Carr in.
You talked about
Blunt committing the foul.
Tom, you talked about the 0-3 situation. Only 2 times in NBA history has a team that's been down 3-0 been able to battle back and make it all the way to 7 games.
And of course, as everyone knows, no team has ever won after trailing.
But it happened in '94 with this Utah Jazz team when they let Denver come all the way back and force a 7th game, and then way back in the infancy of the league in 1951 between New York and Rochester in the NBA Finals.
Eddie Jones to the rim for the Jazz. Do the Lakers have one final push?
One of the great things about this Utah Jazz team, Tom, is the way they've learned to respond to the huge performances of the other team.
Ostertag with a follow, the Morris miss.
Shaq in transition.
23 for Shaq, the game's top scorer.
Finally, the Laker offense has come alive. They certainly have waited long enough.
They slumbered through 3 quarters and 3.5 games for that matter.
Great screen by Ostertag.
And Morris with a reverse from Ostertag.
Every time, and it's been that way in Game 3 today. Every time they make a little run, there's a Morris, there's an Ostertag to answer the call, and the Utah Jazz, they continue to lead.
On NBC is brought to you by
Knows the pain of being swept out of the playoffs. 1995 NBA Finals while still playing for the Orlando Magic. Shaq and his teammates lost 4 straight at the hands of the Houston Rockets and his current teammate Robert Horry. Shaq swept in the finals and in danger of being swept here today in the Western Conference Finals.
Tom, I was talking to Shaq in the locker room about that today, and he was saying that Michael Jordan a couple years ago after the Bulls swept the Magic said, Shaq, you're going to have to experience a lot of failure, a lot of frustration along the way before you finally get that ultimate prize. Unless the Lakers turn it around real quickly, it's going to be a very long and unpleasant summer for Shaquille O'Neal.
Lakers have 9 minutes, 28 seconds to make up an 11-point deficit. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Well, you think Jerry Sloan might be pretty happy at this point. He laced into him pretty good. He said, hey, guys, the idea isn't to stop Shaquille O'Neal as we look at Nick Van Exel hit a 3. Not to stop Shaquille O'Neal, but the object is to try and slow him down. You're just giving him too many easy points in the paint. Slow him down. He's also unhappy with the transition defense. Tom?
All right, Jim, Van Exel with that key 3. You see the leading scorers. And a steal. It's Van Exel. Gives it up to Eddie Jones. Nice play. Nick Van Exel hits the 3 and then assists to Jones for the jam.
And the Lakers, after having been outplayed in every aspect of the game throughout the entire series, finally on the brink, ready to fall off the cliff, they finally come alive.
Van Exel makes it happen, hits the 3, then the steal and the assist, and suddenly the Lakers within a half dozen. Michael and the Bulls against Reggie and the Pacers. The Bulls jumped out to that quick 2-0 series lead, but yesterday the Pacers and Reggie came up big. Will Michael and the Bulls bounce back, or will the Pacers even the series? The NBA on NBC, Chicago, Indiana tomorrow starts at 3 o'clock Eastern Time with NBA Showtime. There's the schedule. On Wednesday they'll move back to Chicago Friday and Sunday if necessary.
Now, Jerry Sloan is going for the closer. Karl Malone has come back in the ball game, as well as Isley has played. John Stockton is back in the ball game. Chandon Anderson, Antoine Carr, and Chris Moore. So the Lakers put on a little bit of a run, and Jerry Sloan said, I'm going to put the big guys in and see if we can't kill them.
It's an 11-4 run since Chris Morris hit that 3-pointer to give the Jazz a 13-point lead.
What the Lakers can't do is put the Utah Jazz in a situation where they're going to score some cheap points with the lead. They're going to call Van Exel for the hand check outside.
Malone against Blunt. Stockton penetrates, floats one up, no good, tapped in by, I think, Chris Morris. Or was it Isley?
Stockton just got a good bounce.
All right.
Tom, what the Utah Jazz have improved more than anything else from last year's loss to the Chicago Bulls was how they respond to the big push by the greatness of the other team. Last year, when Jordan was putting on his show, they just didn't know how to react. This year, the other team with Shaq coming up big, the Jazz keep playing their game.
Shaq line drive off the glass. He has 25. He's the game's leading scorer. And once again, the lead is 6.
Coming to Shannon Anderson, who really posts well against Eddie Jones and Kobe Bryant. They're trying to find him deep. They go to Karl Malone. They get a foul.
Corey Blunt commits the foul.
What a terrific pass by Shandon Anderson. They just know how Karl is going to position himself. Shannon Anderson now playing instead of Jeff Hornacek.
But, you know, this crowd, it waited in game 3. The Lakers got them close to 1-2 points, but never got over the top. They're urging them on right now, and they've never been able to get closer than 6. Malone gets the first free throw.
He has 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And the Utah Jazz, the best shooting team at the free throw line in the NBA playoffs. On the road, need to virtually make all of these down the stretch to hold off this charging Laker team.
Malone has hit 10 of 11 at the free throw line. 8-point lead.
He and Shaquille O'Neal lead in attempts, and they're both double-digit guys. Malone has gotten his number. He's 10-5, and O'Neal is better than that as they go inside to Shaquille.
91% free throw shooting will win you a lot of games. Eddie Jones.
Great defense by Karl Malone, and an even better finish by Eddie.
Eddie Jones with the acrobatic shot again cuts the lead to 6. Lakers determined to make a final run at the Utah Jazz. And the X factor, Eddie Jones, trying to pull the Lakers back with help from Shaq, who's 3 for 3 in the quarter. Shaq pokes it away from Anderson. Scramble. Lakers have it. Van Exel with a seam, can't finish. Chris Morris with the outlet to Stockton, who's fouled by Jones.
Now, Steve, earlier you were telling me that Stockton had lost his quickness, had lost his instincts. The guy was the quickest guy to the ball right there. Eddie Jones, though, a moment before, just right down the lane. You see Karl smothering him. That was George Gervin as well. We've seen George to open the game. We've seen him to close the game.
You're gonna revive the Iceman.
Well, after shooting only 33% from the floor in the third quarter, the Lakers are 7 of 10 in the fourth. They need a stop. Malone.
Well, there's a guy that's going to be the heartbreaker for them. Every time they get close, they've gone to Karl Malone. 4 in the quarter.
26 in the game. Laker timeout.
It's that response again by Utah. Every single time the Lakers make that push, somebody, Stockton, Malone, they're coming through.
For every Laker run, and the Lakers have applied some pressure.
There's a lot of time here. What changes are going to have to be made with the Lakers?
Well, the main thing is that we need a leader. Right now we have no leader. We need somebody to fire this team up, because this is the only game in this 4-game series that we actually played with some emotion and really played with some fire. And it can't be Shaquille. We need somebody that handles the ball a lot. Has to be a leader on this team.
When you say leader, would that indicate that Del Harrison, his position, would be under review?
Well, that may be. I don't know what Dr. Buss or Jerry West is thinking, but what bothered me about this series is that we played 4 games the same way. We haven't made the adjustments like we should have. And then, we haven't played with any passion. I don't mind if we lose, but it's the way we've been losing that bothers me.
You mentioned Jerry West. He has a very difficult decision. I know you want him to stay. Many of the players want him to stay. What do you think ultimately will be his decision?
Well, I don't know. I think he's leaning more toward not coming back than staying, but I don't know what's going to happen. Jerry West's going to have to, explain it to everybody after the season. I hope he stays. The players, the fans, everybody hopes he stays. But tell Bill Walton and your boy over there, Steve, to give up some of that money and give it to him. Maybe he'll stay.
It does seem to be a money issue, guys. There'll be much more on the Jerry West. Magic, thank you, Tom.
All right, Jim, I can't even get them to pick up a dinner check. You can give up some of them. They won't cut loose with that cash.
This has to be so frustrating for Magic Johnson, who was the king of the big games, who was the king of emotional leadership, who was the king of taking charge out there. And to see the Lakers playing so flat and lifeless and unemotional throughout the vast majority of this series, just terribly disappointing.
Eddie Jones sliding out of bounds. Shaq is 4 for 4 in the quarter. Why don't they give it to him?
Well, they tried a couple of times. The Lakers took the passing angle away from them. They took too much time to try to get the ball in. They were too obvious in where they wanted to go. So they got to move the ball, move people a lot quicker. They're still within 6.
First turnover of the quarter committed by the Lakers. They've got Stockton double teamed in the corner. Pitches it out to Hornacek.
But the double teams don't bother John Stockton.
Antoine Karl back rim to Malone with an offensive board.
Now they'll make the Lakers play a full 24 seconds, get them even more tired, even more frustrated.
14 rebounds for Karl Malone. He's been everywhere. Pick and roll. Malone will shoot 2. Corey Blunt with a foul.
Crowd Todd wanted to travel on Karl Malone, but again, it's been the inability to decide what to do with the pick and roll. They get him out of there. Yeah, he sprinted out of the blocks real fast. Almost came out of those bad socks and shoes, but he's going to get the free throws.
Well, the Jazz are really trying to get Karl to go to that hoop more, and he's been finishing magnificently with that left hand. Now he'll be at the foul line. But that play was the perfect example of the partnership on this team.
An NBA Memorial Day special tomorrow starts at 3 p.m. Eastern with NBA Showtime. Dennis Rodman will be featured in Showtime. Then Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Reggie against Michael. The Pacers breaking through with a victory, trailing 2-1 after yesterday's victory at Market Square Arena. Game 4 coming up tomorrow, preceded by Showtime with that Dennis Rodman feature. I think Bob Costas, who in the past has been very critical of Dennis Rodman, will be interviewing Dennis. That'll be Showtime, 3 p.m. Eastern, to kick off our NBA playoff coverage on Memorial Day.
I think they're soulmates, Dennis and Bob.
There are a lot of similarities now that you mention it. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen them together before. Eddie Jones with his 19th point.
Well, the number for the Lakers and Eddie Jones is 20. If he gets 20, they win. So we'll find out whether his number holds up here in the fourth quarter.
Karl Malone has scored the last 6 Jazz points. He has 28.
Terrific pass.
Russell. Rebounded by Jones. Stripped away, Laker ball.
It was Brian Russell's three-pointer at the end of Game 3 Friday night that iced it for Utah. They were looking for that dagger once more.
Rick Fox in the ball game. Kobe Bryant down.
The Lakers, this is the 8th time they've cut the lead to only 6, but they've never been able to get over the hump.
Now here's your man Shaq with the ball. Let's see if he can deliver the goods. His car is all over it.
Shaq under pressure, can't get it down, but will shoot free throws.
Now you know why they groan every time? Because they'd rather see the field goal, because this is your theory coming up. How many do you have to take, Shaq, before you make some?
Oh, now you're starting to blame Shaq for the Lakers not playing well.
No, I'm not blaming him, but you know, the idea is at the end of the game, put him on the line.
He's 3 of 7.
He just missed that one.
Yeah, he's going down too.
The Lakers clearly going without Robert Horry down the stretch. Maybe that hip is just too sore for Robert to be a factor here.
Lakers finally get it under 6, but they're running out of time. Under 3.5 on the clock.
Well, there's a ton of time with a 5-point ball game, so what they've got to do is continue the defensive pressure, get some doubt in the Jazz's mind, make them a little tentative. Hornacek.
Too easy. Hornacek worked his way inside, laid it in.
Lack of rotation by big people. What the Jazz were talking about, the Lakers' real weakness defensively.
Jeff has 15, 3 minutes left. Shaq against Carr. Fouled out on the floor. Antoine Carr.
You get a penalty situation as we go back and see how the Lakers get crossed up defensively. Shaq came out high, didn't dance with those feet, got left out there waltzing, and it was an easy 2 for Hornacek.
They've used Shaq defensively, the Jazz have, in the screen and roll every single time.
Shaq hits the free throw after the 5th foul on Antoine Carr, who leaves the game, replaced by Greg Ostertag.
Ostertag has been very effective this afternoon in being a shot blocker and a guy that's caused Shaq to make some adjustments. O'Neal gets both. That's 11 1/4.
And for the game, 30 points for Shaq, just about what he's been averaging throughout the playoffs.
How about Jerry Sloan's use of the big guys, though? Foster, Antoine Carr, Ostertag, Karl Malone, never really in jeopardy of losing any of them.
Malone over Blunt. Ostertag, an offensive board. He beats Shaq to the ball.
Now put it in Stockton's hands if you're the Jazz and just run some clock and give it back to Karl Malone.
When you're scrambling defensively, you don't know when the shot is coming up, and that's what's happening with the Los Angeles Lakers, and they haven't had a chance to get good defensive rebound.
Shaq's coming in transition. Good time for a lob.
There's the entry pass against Ostertag. Drives baseline and is fouled. sliding about 10 feet on his backside, and like a bowling ball, had the pins running for cover.
It'll take him a while to wipe the floor up here. Ostertag has been playing all afternoon with his hands down around his waist. You got to get your hands out when you're guarding a dribbler, up when you're guarding a shooter.
Here's one of your questions. How about moving your feet?
That'll help a lot too,
and not
Steve.
going with your hips. 3 in a row.
4 of his last 5 at the line. 7 of 11 on the day.
Surprised a gunner like you, Steve, knew anything about moving your feet defensively.
Missed that one. And Ostertag has the rebound. Jazz with the ball up 4. Just less than 2 minutes to play. Game 4, Jazz looking for the sweep.
7 on the shot clock.
Malone, the bucket. Karl Malone, a tough baseline jump shot.
And he came right by the scorer's table and said, "That's in your face, Steve Jones."
Well, he said that dagger was out, and that was a dagger right there. Lakers still within 6, going to O'Neal.
There's the entry pass. O'Neal, an easy one. And one. Not a smart play for the Jazz. Should have conceded that one. He has a chance for a 3-point play.
The Lakers, the Jazz have not fronted at any time. Karl Malone just waits patiently, steps back. That's a Larry Bird shot right there, to step back when you're 6'10". But why is Ostertag fronting in that situation?
Shaq completes the 3-point play. It's a 3-point game with 1:30 left. Stockton is fouled.
Eddie Jones riding him all the way. That's going to quiet the crowd down. They had really worked themselves up into a fever pitch, but he couldn't get across the screen. Stockton just bearing in, so it'll be a pair of free throws for Stockton and the Jazz.
John has not shot a terrific percentage in this conference finals, but he's not had a lot of attempts either.
That's only his 3rd point of this game. Antoine Carr with 5 fouls for the Jazz, the only player in danger of being disqualified at the moment, but several players, as you see, in foul trouble. Here's Carr returning for the Jazz.
Well, Ostertag having trouble with the position of O'Neal. They're going to bring in Antoine Carr, who's able to put a big body on him. Stockton gets them both.
Stockton hits 2 to push the Jazz lead to 5. Van Exel looking for Shaq to post low. Malone's checking in now. There's the entry pass. Shaq spins and is fouled by Karl Malone. That'll be his 4th.
Foul against Karl Malone.
The best thing for the Lakers is the clock is stopping with every possession. They're on the edge of their seats. They don't know whether Malone has run his streak. He was at 3 in a row, 4 out of 5, and then he missed the last time. Can he reestablish?
Meanwhile, the hack of Shaq has not been working because he's been hitting his free throws. You see the free throw shooting by the Lakers as Shaq misses the 2nd. Fox kept it alive, but the Jazz have it. And it looks like a foul called on Corey Blunt attempting to get the loose ball.
And you can see Magic standing there with his head down. The loose ball was just right out there for the taking. You just see the dejection on his face. Will somebody please show some quickness out here in anticipation as to where that ball is going?
The Jazz have been the better team. They have been quicker to the ball the entire series, so you shouldn't be surprised. He has said, we haven't played this team as well as we can. We haven't made the adjustments, and the Utah Jazz and Stockton, they continue to make the big play when they have to.
See the unique partnership on this Jazz team. Unique in this league. They got a combination of young guys and old guys. They got big guys that set screens for little guys out top. They got little guys setting screens for big guys underneath. Really a skills to help us. I can't imagine the Lakers without Jerry West. But Magic's comments, they didn't sound that confident or positive.
Time for one final effort, and Shaquille O'Neal with a chance for a 3-point play.
Again, it has been O'Neal that has been putting them on his back and keeping them close. A chance for a three-point play as Karl fouls out of the ball game.
Antoine Karl disqualified with 6.
That play took 5 seconds. So the Lakers, if they can get 3, still have plenty of time. Chris Morris coming in the ball game for Antoine Karl. They're going small.
Well, the Jazz going with an offensive lineup here. They'll play Karl Malone in the middle. Remember, when the Jazz went on that great run at the end of this regular season that ensured them the home court advantage throughout the playoffs, it was when they went small like this where they played their best basketball.
O'Neal hits the free throw for the three-point play. He has 38 points, and the Lakers are within 3. Final minute. Stockton looking inside, guarded by Jones. 10 to shoot. Stockton lost it out of bounds. Laker ball.
Tom, one of the few times you'll see John Stockton stuck along that baseline. That's the last place a guard wants to be.
When he was younger, he was quicker. He wouldn't have got stuck.
Van Exel
Coming back to Shaq.
Shaq sets a screen, pick and roll. Now Shaq posting low against Malone. Flashes it back out to Fox. 8 to shoot. Malone puts it up and in. No basket. No basket. Foul before the shot.
Well, they waited. They showed as much patience as they had the entire 4-game series before delivering the ball to Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal gets the foul, the crowd right on the edge of their feet and standing.
Malone misses, or O'Neal misses the first free throw, and for Karl Malone, that's 5 fouls.
Now, all the Lakers have to be prepared for a miss. Right now, they got to think miss and try to get this rebound.
Well, look at the Utah guards checking out Eddie Jones and Van Exel in front.
O'Neal misses 2. Ball stripped away. Loose ball foul. Rick Fox of the Lakers.
The strength of Karl Malone in grabbing that rebound. He's established himself underneath all game long.
Now, you asked too much. You really do ask too much of Shaq. I mean, he has a history of poor free throwing. He's been tremendous this afternoon. And with all of the weight sitting right here, you stick him on the line. He misses 2. Nobody's ready to rebound. Karl Malone's had a great afternoon rebounding the ball. Crowd begging for some misses.
Malone has been deadly at the free throw line. He has missed only 1 shot, 12 of 13. Now 13 of 14 at the free throw line. He has 31 points.
And remember, this was a guy that had a chance to win Game 1 in Chicago with some free throws. So you talk about dealing with pressure, he knows the deal.
But you're also talking about a franchise that knows about skill development, about character development. This epitomizes the entire Utah organization. Karl Malone here with a chance. 4-point lead.
Karl Malone knocks down 2 pressure free throws after Shaq had missed 2 left in this Game 4.
Well, the Los Angeles Lakers are going to try to get a quick score. They've got to take the quick early score, then they got to try to come back, make a gamble, try to steal the ball, stop the clock. Jazz are not going to let them have it easy.
Kobe Bryant against Russell. Takes it to the rim and one. Just what they wanted.
Very little time off the clock. Jerry Sloan can't believe.
Well, there's a foul here. So if you're going to get a call, you don't. They let him continue on. He hangs Kobe Bryant.
I didn't even see the second foul.
Right. I think you're right. I didn't either.
Jerry Sloan is telling his troops, move the ball, move the ball.
Free throw rolls in. It's a 2-point game. 22 seconds left.
Well, the Jazz don't have to shoot, so the Lakers are going to have to do
foul.
something. They're going to have to stop the clock.
They can't foul Stockton. They give it to Foster. Somebody needed to foul him.
Now they talk about that moving the ball.
And now they finally have to foul John Stockton. Stockton or Hornacek were the ones you did not want to foul. Foster had it for a moment, but no one was ready to foul him. There you see the Foster, although he's a pretty good free throw shooter, Hornacek and normally Stockton are deadly.
Well, the Jazz have been the best free-throwing team through the regular season. Your theory is that it's not how many you take, but how many you make. Or is it the other way around?
It's not how many you make, it's how many you take. The Lakers just didn't take enough, Steve. That's the
They
thing.
needed about 60 at the rate they were going. The Jazz have hit 14, now 15 free throws in a row. That'll win a lot of games. And the lead is, and we talked about the great bench play of the Utah Jazz, but with the game on the line, it's been the big three. Malone, Stockton, and Hornacek. They have scored the Jazz last 20 points.
And Jerry Sloan's brought back Greg Foster. They don't want to have Karl Malone possibly foul out.
Van Exel lays it in, 7.3 seconds. Remember all the precious seconds they wasted last time before fouling.
They do it again.
Foster with a jam and one, and that'll do it. 2.5 seconds left.
They do it again. After they got the quick hitting play, they never could get to the ball, and you can see the dejection on the Los Angeles Laker bench as they never responded the way that they should have through the 4 games.
Steve, I like what the Jazz did here in terms of moving the ball, not just standing there waiting to get fouled. It's one thing if you're Jeff Hornacek, yeah, but you see the excitement, the exuberance on the Utah Jazz bench. Greg Foster, who's been through the wars, who's been the victim of a lot of unfortunate career breaks.
They did the right thing and missed. Eddie Jones.
And that's the final horn, and the sweep is complete. The Western King still reigns. The Utah Jazz are returning to the NBA Finals.